Hello everyone and welcome back to Manor Lords, a medieval city builder game with a real-time strategy element. In the last episode, we were able to solidify our dominance over the tax system, as well as stretch our real-time strategy legs, fending off old Lord Grumpyface in his own land. This allowed us to take one of his territories and win the prize of a rich iron and clay deposit. And with this done, I have an idea of how we can poise ourselves for the final push to victory. And if that is something that you're into, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and let's jump in to Manor Lords. Alright, so what I'm thinking about doing here is having 2 outposts here in these territories. And the reason is we can poise ourselves to have reinforcements as fast as we want into Lord Grumpyface's territory. Each of these territories has a rich deposit of iron. This means that we could have weapons manufacturing coming out of these territories specifically. Now, unfortunately, they're not much to look at for food. Selbitz here just has a basic wild animals and berries, as well as some pretty garbage fertility. I mean, you can't even grow rye here. That's pretty bad. But Goldoff, man, they've got tons of berries. We could definitely use that, as well as wild animals. But once again, their fertility? Ugh, straight garbage. I can't believe how bad it actually is. But that's not the purpose of this land. These lands are going to basically be provided from the other lands. And that's why we set it up the way we did. Our farming community over here is pretty much exactly the way we wanted. It's producing more wheat and grain than it could ever stand, turning that into bread and shipping it off to Hogwarts. Hogwarts over here, it's pretty much the moneymaker. It does all of the funds and has all the war chests that it's needed to pretty much buy the retinue that we need to take on Lord Grumpyface. And I think we'll need a lot of retinue. So the plan is to solidify an initial invasion from our troops here in Hogwarts combined with our troops here in Buzzland to have the initial push that we need to soften old Lord Grumpyface. And how would that main invasion go? Well, basically, I'll have a whole lot of town here in Selbitz and in Goldoff, and we'll just push those troops in after the initial invasion has been pretty much wasted. Yes, we're sending them off like the sacrificial lamb that they are. But we'll be able to buy retinue real fast and send those 24 retinue in over and over again because it doesn't require people as I see it. It's almost like you're buying mercenaries within your own lands and sending them off to battle well equipped and well armed. And as I said in the beginning, as pretty much the tax system is ours for the taking, we don't really have to worry about the money problem, and by the time we get these 2 cities built up, we'll have a lot more in our treasury. Now the first city I'd like to found, well, it's going to be Selbitz here. Selbitz. I don't like that name. I'm going to choose one of our people from the Discord, Iron Angel, and it's a very appropriate name seeing as how we're going to be making lots of weapons and smelting some iron over here. So this city, it's going to be pretty basic, very much like the others, just because we're here for the iron and the clay deposit, and I want to make sure that we get as much of that as we possibly can. So we're going to put in a basic crossroads. I'm thinking somewhere about right here will be the main crossroad, and we'll probably curve this at the end with a little bit of character. From here, I think we'll probably go about like so and make the crossroads like that and done. This is going to be the beginning of a city. And it's pretty flat except for this one area. I hope we can build in it. We've had trouble with that in the past. And now with all that figured out, we'll go ahead and put our settlers camp right here. And then we'll decide what it is that we want. We still don't have an option to make it a mining village, even though that would be pretty handy right about now. But we'll send it with everything we've got. Plentiful resources, lots of firewood, lots of bread, lots of money, and we'll settle this region. Now, before we unpause the game, I want to check on a couple of things. I want to make sure that we can build on this hill. It would be real unfortunate if it told us that we couldn't, and it seems as though we're good. So everything can go where we want it to. Now, I don't want the logging camp to be too far away, so we'll start that there, and we'll also put our woodcutter's lodge right there as well, right next to it. And while we're at it, we might as well put in our saw pit. At the same time, we'll go ahead and put our well way up here because I've come to discover that it doesn't matter where you put the well. As long as they have access, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Walking's good. It makes you more thirsty. Now, per the normal, the last couple of things that we need to set up is our storage and our granary. And we'll put those two things right here. And now we'll just set up our marketplace here and we'll just make it a decent sized one. I don't know, maybe about that big. Yeah, 35 plots. And put a nice little road around it and it'll be the end of it. Market done. This particular city is mostly about just getting the iron production going. And last but not least, we'll go ahead and put in a few double houses right here. I think these will probably be our vegetable plots, so we need to have them somewhat big. And as always, we want them to be double plots. Now, something I noticed here recently is it tells you exactly how many burgage plots it is. So when we started, it said there were 6 burgage plots, meaning 6 families. But then when we get it to where we want it with the double houses, we have 4 burgage plots with double the families. That actually equals 8 families. So that's pretty convenient. I don't know why I never noticed it before. So we'll just go ahead and set those burgage plots down there, and we'll make these things priority. It doesn't matter that we don't have any food coming in yet, because I have a solution for that. We could straight away go after the berries and the animals, and we probably still will, but we didn't go through all that trouble to set up old Buzzland just to not have them ship anything out. So I'm going to unpause the game and I'm going to let these guys get a building on all this stuff. Now, the houses are the higher priority, but they're not really necessary right off the bat. So we'll go ahead and make the logging camp the highest priority. And then from there, we can let them build the houses and then everything else. So with all the houses built, I went ahead and upgraded every one of these for an additional living space. That way we could have tons of people in our city as quickly as possible, as well as threw people into the storehouse and the granary to gather up all the supplies that were laying out on the floor. And we had quite a bit of them. I have the spare people currently, so I might as well do it. Now the next thing to build, well, it's going to be the trading post, and I want that right here next to all of our storage. And the reason is I'm going to have a lot of packing stations out the back here. And those packing stations, it's pretty much what's going to keep this city alive. The packing stations will line up right here in the back, right behind this trading post. And I'm going to be using those to get as much stuff in and out of the city as possible. The packing stations, they need a trading post to trade at. Now, what are we going to trade out of here? Well, probably those clay tiles. We need to set up our clay pit real fast as we possibly can. This'll do just fine here, then we can set up our clay furnace right across the street from it. And that way these two things can just be back and forth with each other. And then it'll bring the clay tiles all the way down to the trading station or the packing stations, however we see to do it. We'll sell a little bit of them just to make some money because they do make good money. And we'll send the others off to the other places where they can sell them or use them in their city. Now over here in Buzzland, we were trying to get this last farmhouse full of people, and it's not looking very good right now. We'd have to add some more houses, and I don't want to do that. I think we have plenty of houses as it is. We're just going to have to upgrade a few of them. And the only way to do that, well, is to make them level 3. And that means a tavern. Oh boy, I'm not looking forward to that. But luckily, we have been making malts, plenty of malts over here. And we could easily turn one of our houses into a brewery and make as much ale as we possibly could. So I think it's time to say goodbye to the goats and say hello to the brewery. Now, it shouldn't take too long to get this brewery up and running, and it shouldn't also take too long to get some ale for our city. but it is going to take some rejigging here in our packing stations. Now that we want to keep some of our malts, we'll need to change this one to barley and kind of suffer whatever it is. We'll stop trading the spears over there too, and we'll switch back to warbows. That way, they always have everything they need. But we'll probably change one of these packing stations to Iron Angel. That way we can trade with them, but right now is not the time to do that. We'll also need to put down a packing station over here in Buzzland, and I don't have anybody to build it right now, but that's okay. We'll get to building this here in a minute. It's pretty much going to send all of the bread that we possibly can from here to Iron Angel. Now I'm going to go ahead and place down the tavern just kind of in advance, but I don't want anybody working in this just yet providing said ale to everybody who wants it. I want to build up a little bit of tavern supply and make sure that we have plenty in storage before we even open this up. As well as I'm giving the packing stations another thought. Sending barley over would greatly impede our ability to make ale over in Buzzland. So I kind of feel like I don't really want to trade barley anymore. Maybe just have one of these trading barley, and we can trade barley for cloaks. And that way, you know, if we have cloaks, then we'll send them over. As far as the other two, I think I'm just going to go with no barter. I don't have anything that I really want to trade. And to be honest with you, I just want to make as much money as I possibly can. I might think about sending some food over to Buzzland if we ever so need to, but I don't think we'll need that. I mean, we're producing way more food over here in Hogwarts. Sending food out of here might be the better option. And I know Iron Angel, it's gonna need it in the very near future. Now, in preparation for our packing stations delivering the goods wherever I need them to, I drew in a couple of really straight roads. But I did use the King's Road here, and we'll connect that up to Buzzland over here, and Hogwarts is totally connected. Now, originally I was going to put all of the packing stations back here behind the trading post, but I don't feel like that's a good idea. So I drew out a line right here, and I think I just want to put several packing stations right here. That way, all the iron we could ever want goes out, and all the food we could want comes in. Because our main trade over to Hogwarts, that's definitely gonna be iron for vegetables, or apples, or bread. I don't know. But the one thing we need here, well, that's gonna be more houses. Lots more houses. We could do for at least 3 or 4 more families. So I think I'm just gonna continue building houses over here in Iron Angel. Still keeping them large so we could try to produce our own vegetables and or apple orchards if we ever so wanted. I'd love to get the apple orchards going early if we could. And that way we could have apples as one of our main food sources. I think apples would be very overpowered over here, as we're not really going to do any kind of grain. We need to get to deep mining as quickly as possible, and maybe even do some basic armor making. We could use this to really have an advantage on taking down old Lord Grumpyface. As far as trade goes, we're not really going to do too much with trade. We're going to sell as many of those clay tiles as we possibly can, so opening this up, it really doesn't make a lot of sense. We just need to make money through taxes. But right now, just this one place is taking far too long, so we've got enough revenue and we have enough in our bank. I think it's time to even settle a second town. Yes, you heard me. The second outpost probably needs to go down as soon as possible. I think it'll be a lot to micromanage for the time being, but I definitely want to do it. Goldhoff is looking mighty tasty, and I want to get it settled as quickly as possible. Now, the bad thing is about this is it does have a giant hill. That tells us it's too steep to build for quite a bit of where all this is. So I'm not thinking that we have enough area to build the homes down here along the King's Road like I wanted. That's just too bad. It's not gonna work. So it really is looking like this is gonna be the spot to do it. Now we're gonna have to be real careful and make sure that our forestry area is probably on this side, taking out all of this forest and leaving all of this alone so that we can at least have some animals and berries. Our people will probably be living off of berries pretty heavy in this one. So let me set up a small little crossroads, and we'll get the basics down in a hurry. We'll put down a logging camp, a woodcutter's camp, decide where we want the church so that we can mark out a space for the marketplace, establish where we want our granary and our storage house, throw down a few houses to get us started, nestle the hunter's camp over in this wooded area where it belongs, as well as the forager's hut. That way we can get some initial food going, and with that all established, we'll just let them get to work working on this. Now, we will have to kind of come over here and check on it, as it is going to take a little time to get the houses going, but if we just put a few of these up to a higher priority, it shouldn't be too much of a problem, and we'll plant some vegetables in most of these places right away. As all of these can hold 2 families, we should have enough houses to even get ourselves past that first little hump. We'll have to get these rocks out of the way, but that's okay. That's a future Addo problem. Now, I'm going to kind of let this play around in the background, and that way we can get ourselves to a happy spot. I'll get ourselves established, but if anything crazy happens, I'll pop in and let you know. But right now, I just need to get these cities to a stability point, and that's going to be utilizing these packing stations over here in Iron Angel, and we'll also try to do the same here in Goldhof. Goldhof, I'm not really feeling that. Why don't we go to our last person on the Discord and use their name? You have now just been renamed Brandyburg. Thanks, Discord friends. Now, it is a good thing that we saved a bunch of troops here in Buzzland, because sure enough, we had some raiders invasion, and I think we should be able to handle these guys pretty easily. We do have a flank coming in from the other side over here, but I think we should be able to take these guys out handily with our retinue and our spear militia. Hopefully they'll break pretty easy. Now, it does seem that we got a little bit of breakthrough, and we got a few against our archers over here. But it shouldn't be too bad, as we can just quickly run away. The archers do seem to be way faster than anybody else, so I think we should be able to handle this runaway pretty easily. Now, this does mean we have to put down a body pit, but we'll just fertilize these trees over here with the corpse of our enemies. But the good thing is here in Buzzland, we have our tavern up and going. And we can toast to our fallen comrades after the battle. And with a tavern up and going, it means that we can pretty much upgrade the majority of our houses. Now, the one thing that's gonna kind of restrict us is our roof tiles, as we don't have very many of them. But we are trading our bread to Iron Angel for some roof tiles, which they are currently making. After we've established our pretty decent sized starter town here, we went ahead and got the clay pit, and we've got the clay furnace going. we have our packing stations ready to attack, but we need a little bit of revenue to be able to buy the mules to put in those said packing stations. But we're going to have to make sure we have enough populace to get the clay from our mining pit, as well as populate our clay furnace with as many people as we can to get roof tiles flowing. It is the only thing that we have to trade over here that's worth anything, and we established that trade route and told it to export anything above 0. We tend to always have a lot right now, but we're pretty much counting on that being our only source of revenue. In Brandyburg, it's mostly the same. We went ahead and established most of our houses and upgraded them to an expanded living space as soon as we could. As far as things to trade here, well, we really don't have too much. We have planks and we have stones. We'll probably establish both of these, but the big thing over here isn't so much that we need food. Our rich deposit of berries should allow us to keep these people satiated for the time being. And we can always expand our wild animals with our development points, because over here, the only development points we really want is the deep mining. So we can establish 2 here and then go straight into trapping if we so desire to get a little bit extra meat. We could go into orchardry as well, but I don't really think that is going to be the course of action here in Brandyburg. Now in Brandyburg here, we are kind of a little low on populace, so we need to establish a few more houses, and since their approval is so good, we can afford to put more people in here. 6 seems like a good amount. So we'll establish 6 more families in here, and we'll also go ahead and try and throw down the packing stations right here behind the trading post. That way we can get some packing stations going as well. I would like to try to get a lot of this material out of here as quickly as possible. I've also gone ahead and put down the mining pit, and I made a little bit of a windy road through the forest here that you can barely see. The reason I did that was to have access to the mining pit, as well as maybe give our foresters somewhere to walk to get to these berries a little bit faster. With 2 guys in the forager's hut, we should be getting quite a few berries once the season starts, and we have just started in spring. Another thing that came to mind is we could actually establish a dyer's workshop here, and that could be one of our main trades. Dyes do sell pretty well, but they could be better. They do sell for 1 more coin than berries, and that is at least a little bit more. And now with our tavern complete and our level 3 houses here in Buzzland, it afforded us a development point. A development point that I have no idea where I would even think I want to spend it. I'm really just upgrading these houses for people, not necessarily anything else. Now the right thing probably would be trapping or doing some trade logistics. That way we can get better deals on the things that we are exporting. It'll increase our income here to Buzzland and allow us to make more profit on taxes. Our main exports here are shoes, yarn, and dyes, and we have plenty of all 3 of those. So we're trying to make as much money here as we possibly can. But the trading post, it just doesn't have enough people. I think that's the thing, is there's not enough movement of things from one place to another. But first off, I want to get the farms full up before we get the trading post done. Now over here in Iron Angel, we're doing pretty good as far as everything we need. We're getting bread already from the packing stations, and that's a good thing. But I want to try something different over here that I haven't tried in the past. I know that we kind of set a spot over here to say this is going to be for the church, but I want to see what the range is on the church. So I'm thinking of putting the church right here. Does it matter where the church is? Well, we're about to find out. If the church is like the well and you can kind of build it wherever you want, I think that is kind of a missed opportunity throughout the entire playthrough. We could have put it off in a corner and been happy with it. I also went ahead and used the 1 development point that we have here in Iron Angel to open up the apples. That way we can get them planted right away. And I established 3 vegetable fields and 4 apple orchards. And I think that's going to be a good start once these things start ramping up. But it's going to take a while. Now, if the church works over here, well, that's going to be pretty awesome because that's going to open up a lot more space. A lot more space around our marketplace. That way we can pack in a whole lot of houses here. My idea is to have 1 row of like single houses that don't have a lot for the back. Maybe just enough to put something in there if we want. And then behind it, a whole bunch of houses that we can use for more vegetable fields and other things. Now the next thing I would like to build, well, that's going to be my manor house. I would like to try to put this sucker right next to the trading post like that. We'll go ahead and add the garrison tower on, and we'll commit to that building. As well as I want to go ahead and get my manor house put here in Brandyburg. We don't have enough logs to construct the garrison tower, but we'll do that as soon as we can. The big reason is I want to get my retinue ready and prepared for the battle that's about to ensue. Now here in Brandyburg, we're going to do another thing quite similar to over there at Iron Angel. We're going to go ahead and put our wooden church in, and we're going to put it about right here. And the reason we're doing that is if it does work over in Iron Angel, it'll work the same here. Everybody will have their church access, and that'll be fine. I don't think that we need to go too much past level 2 housing. We just need a lot of people, a lot of little houses. So we'll do a lot of vegetable fields here, and it'll make everyone happy. Between the vegetables and the berries, Brandyburg, they should be all right. As far as spending their development point, I think we need to go straight into the deep mining as quickly as possible. That way we can start trading as much iron or iron slabs as we possibly can. Now I have established a packing station from Iron Angel to Hogwarts, and the reason is I want to get some of those vegetables as a food source into Iron Angel. And I am very proud of our people as they are using the road that I established to go to and from the most direct route I could possibly imagine. And that is very good. I'm glad the pathfinding in this game works like it should. Now Buzzland here has been upgraded quite significantly since the last time you saw it. We have quite a few level 3 houses, and we've even done our brewery up to a level 3, just to see if we can keep up with that supply. It seemed to work out over in Hogwarts, so I thought I'd try it again here. But with all these level 3 houses, it seems like we're still not being able to get all of the fields sown by the end of the year. Even with 3 different farmhouses fully staffed with people, it doesn't seem to be making it. I'm not really sure what's going on here. I would venture a guess that the half Morgan sized plots really aren't doing ourselves any favors. So something weird happened and we had a bandit invasion, but it seems like they are just sitting on the border of Brandyburg. I don't know if this is the game's kind way of telling me, you better be careful, we're coming for you. But it did give us the opportunity to bring most of our troops here to the edge of Waldebrand and Zawaya, whatever that one is. And we're going to try to come in from the right side here and creep down and see if we can't coax them into this land. That way it keeps everybody out of here and I don't have to build a corpse pit. Now with our troops lined up, we'll go ahead and just see if we can't creep towards these bandit camps and get these guys to come and see us on the front lines. Well, I've gotten as close as I want to, and it finally seems like I've coaxed them to come to me. We may have to go try to take out those bandit camps. Now, I don't have any retinue in any of this army, but it is still a pretty significant army to meet on the battleground. We'll just let those arrows go and see how well we fend off these guys this time. Well, it appears that we have taken them all out, even though they tried to break through our lines and get our archers. But I am still curious as to why these bandit camps are still over here. We may need to send some troops to investigate this. Huh. It does appear to be one of those old bandit camps. We'll just send it to the nearest town. I really don't need the money. But I cannot seem to select any more of these, so I'm a little nervous that bandits will just pop in from time to time. Maybe on a save and reload, it'll just go away. But in the meantime, we'll send all of these troops back where they belong. Now, we have been playing the game pretty hard in the background, developing our 2 new cities, and as you can see, it has caused our taxes to go up to 2.2 thousand in taxes a year. That's quite a significant difference, but we're not too worried about it, are we? Nah, we got 19,000 in the bank. And we're still making money hand over fist. We've even started taxing the other 2 little small towns, and that way we can generate a little bit of revenue from them. Their regional wealth is starting to creep up past 1,000 from time to time, so it's definitely an advantage. How much are we taxing them? Well, 1%. We don't want to lose any of our approval right now because we're having a little bit of trouble here in Brandyburg. We didn't get enough packing stations built at first to start pushing food back and forth between all the lands. But that's okay, we've got it figured out now. I believe 3 of them should do really well. We've got bread coming in, apples, and some more bread from Hogwarts. Now we're pretty much trading all of our iron over to Hogwarts, and that's fine by me. We have lots of iron ore, and the iron slabs are coming in pretty regularly. But we need to start making weapons here as well. I've already started by making 1 blacksmith shop to make the spears. So now we're going to go ahead and put in the joiner's workshop along with the fletcher's workshop. But I would really like to double up our blacksmith and our joiner's workshop. Now over here in Iron Angel, we have done quite a bit of the same. We've upgraded a lot of these houses to level 2, and we have our artisan shops ready to be converted into whatever it is that we want them to be. And over here, we're going to do much of the same. We want to make sure that we're making plenty of weapons so that when we want to reinforce our troops, we have the ability to do so from this land. Now, unfortunately, we haven't even put in our mining pit yet, just because I haven't had the ability to do so, as I've been trying to get this place settled in, and their food problems are no problems at all. It is a very healthy outpost with 3 types of food, making our approval go through the roof over here, as well as our regional wealth. So I'd like to start out just by saying I want a blacksmith, a joiner's workshop, and the fletcher as well. Now a couple things we did do is micromanage just a little bit to make sure we didn't have anybody in this salt pit while we were doing all that building, but we're going to go ahead and put another person in there now, as well as get our iron deposit established over here. We want to make sure that we start making that iron so that our blacksmith isn't just sitting around doing nothing. We'll also put our bloomery right here next to our tannery, and that way we can get our goods into the city as fast as possible into the blacksmith shop. But that's going to require a couple of more people, as I want one of these guys to be an additional blacksmith and joiner, and possibly one of these guys back here to be a cobbler's workshop. So I think a few more houses are in order, and we'll probably establish those right there. I think 6 more families would just about put us exactly where we want to be, and this town is complete. Now, as far as getting our retinue up to snuff, Iron Angel currently only has 5 with a potential of 24, and Brandyburg has 5 with a potential of 24 as well. But I'd like to get Brandyburg a little bit more established before we decide to do any other things here. That food situation, it makes me a little nervous. But I think that's something that's going to have to wait for the next episode. Because I believe that we're a little over time, and I went way long on this episode. But if you did enjoy what you saw today, don't forget to check out the links in the description. One is for Patreon, where support on Patreon gets your name in the credits and something in-game named after you, as well as the link for Discord. Joining the Discord gives you the ability to talk to me one-on-one or talk to all my online friends, which we've named cities after. But as always, the best way to support is to like and subscribe, as it does help the channel out. Hit the notification bell so you can be alerted of any time any Manor Lords or any other content gets uploaded to the page. Click one of the buttons on the screen right now to see what else we've played. Go for it, they're right there. And don't forget to keep gaming for the love of games. Bye now.